Jerry, what do you guys need to do differently to support Brian and to end the 29-year drought that you guys have between going to a Super Bowl?
Well, I think we, you always have to evaluate, where it didn't go right last year. And obviously, we're also evaluating where it didn't go right, in terms of, this drought that people say we're in terms of a championship game or a Super Bowl. And, we just have to continue to make this roster better. It'll certainly be something that Jerry, myself, Will and his staff, and now Coach Shotty and his staff, we'll sit down and take a look and see what we have to do better.
What we have to do better. Good morning, Cowboy fans. Mark Holmes here, and as always, I want to say thank you all for watching, commenting, subscribing, and being part of the Joe Boo Sports Report. Without you guys, as well as you ladies, you know that this literally does not work. Hope you're all having a great day. Man, it is so nice. The weather outside, it's going to be 85 degrees, and it's great because I've been doing some work outside, sweating my ass off, which is good because I got a lot of ass that I can sweat off, and I need to get some of this fat off this ass. So I am excited as can be because we are coming down the home stretch, getting ready for the NFL draft. And on a daily basis, everything changes for the Dallas Cowboys. It's funny how we started out where the Cowboys need to trade both of their number ones to move up to get Clive Downs. And I know I say his name's wrong, but listen, if you're coming in here because I can pronounce a guy's name, then you're in the wrong spot. You're in the wrong spot, okay? I am the name butcher. That's what I do, okay? I'm dyslexic. I can't pronounce. Phonetically, I can't do it. I just can't. You want to make fun of me? By all means, go right ahead. Have fun with it, okay? But I'm here to talk about the Dallas Cowboys. I am the everyday man, okay? But I remember people saying, oh, my God, we got to go get him. In the same way people said, we got to go up and trade up to get Kyle Pitts. He's generational. Okay, I'm not with all that, but be that as it may. We've gone through the litany of let's trade for Max Crosby. Let's go ahead and trade for Myles Garrett. We got to get Reuben Baines. We have literally just you can't stay focused on one guy whatsoever. It's my thing here because we hear the Cowboys are trying to talk to the Arizona Cardinals that are sitting at 3. We got the Cleveland Browns that are making it known that at number 6, they're willing to trade, okay? They're willing to trade and move on and try and get more capital. And you may see more teams that are willing to make some moves back out to try and get more capital. For me, that's desperation. It's desperation. Now, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe the difference between picking 5 and 12 is going to be that big. But I still believe that between guys that we brought in David Baily, we brought in Sonny Styles, we brought in Clive Downs, we brought in Avell Reese. I believe, didn't we bring in Reuben Baines? We've got that's 5 guys. That means there's only 6 other players that'll come off the board. That there's only 6 other players that can come off the board, and we have no shot. If 7 different players come off the board, then one of those guys are going to be there for us. You follow what I'm saying? We know we need help at the edge. And I still believe that Max Crosby is going to be the one that's going to be there. We definitely need help at linebacker. We need help in the secondary. Any one of these guys will make your team better. And I believe that one of them fall to you. Now, if we go to ESPN, okay, their mock draft right now, we already believe one's going to be Mendoza. That Mendoza is going to go number 1. Okay, all right. So that means we need 6 other guys, just 6 other guys to go off the board to get one of those. Right now they have Avell Reese going number 2 to the Jets, and we know that he's going to go up really high. We have the Cardinals looking for a tackle, and they're the ones, of course, that are thinking about moving back out because they think that that's overvalued at 3 for that tackle and think that they can get some extra capital. Okay, so that's 2 right now they have in there. David Baily, another guy we've looked at. We have the Tennessee Titans, okay, taking that. We have roughly the Giants taking Jeremiah Love because they love running backs. So that's 3 right there. Cleveland Browns that are talking about moving back. Wide receiver. So that's 4. They have the Commanders taking down, so that loses one of your defensive players. You have New Orleans taking Sonny Styles at 8. You have Kansas City taking a tight end. They have Mansour Dane. Oh, I forgot. Mansour Dane is one of the guys we brought in, too. Taking cornerback. We have Miami taking wide receiver. So that's 5. And even with that, they still have Reuben Baines falling to you at 12. So here's my question. Okay, and again, this is just a mock draft. It doesn't mean shit. It could be Reuben Baines goes higher. It could be somebody else trades with the Cleveland Browns and ends up taking one of the defensive players. It could be that somebody also trades with the Cleveland Browns and takes one of the defensive players. And it ends up being that you don't get the 2 guys that you kind of looked at. I get that. That's possible. But is giving up 2 number 1s worthwhile to get one of those guys? Because clearly, if one of those guys, okay, this is where that you look at it and say, it may end up being that you don't get that superstar, right? But somebody good, in order for us to not be able to get one of those stars, right? For us not to be able to get one of those stars, that means one of these other guys is going to drop out of the top 10. Now, maybe you're not thinking about offensive tackle or wide receiver, but if it ends up being a great wide receiver, and you can trade George Pickens and get another pick, I'm just saying. I don't know that trading up is the best idea. Now, you want to explore everything, and you're making calls. You make calls to see, well, and maybe the Cowboys called and said, hey, Arizona, we know you want to move back. What if we give you the number 12 pick and a 3rd-round pick? They say, yeah, we do want to move back, but that's not enough. If you want to offer some more, we'll talk. Okay, cool. Click. But I really don't feel like the Cowboys are going to want to give up both number 1s, but I think that's what it would take to move up, especially that far. Now, maybe Cleveland, you got a better shot at doing that, and you'd still get a chance to get one of those guys. But I'm not sure still that a 1 and a 3 are enough to entice them. But let's take a look. Let me play this. I should have been talking about David Baily, who the Cowboys have been rumored to want to get. He is a beast. He's stocky. He's a lot thicker than Micah Parsons is. And he is a true edge rusher. And so you see him coming from standing up, which is what you're looking at with this defense. You're talking about your edge rusher as an outside linebacker, so to speak. And look at that. You see how he rocked that tackle? That tackle goes backwards. He is an absolute, look at that, just ran right past the tackle there. He ran a 4.5. What they are doing right now is they are looking at all aspects. They're turning over every rock between free agency. They tried to get into Kobe Dean, didn't work out and stuff. They're looking at trades where they're trying to get Jaden Brooks in there and stuff and things. They made the trade, of course, for Rashawn Gary. They have been more active than ever this offseason in trying to acquire talent. And they're looking to trade up. They're looking to trade back. They're looking for best player available. They are looking and trying to make the best decision possible with as much data as possible. And that's not typical for the Dallas Cowboys. So here we're going to go ahead. I have some things I enjoy in life. I enjoy waking up next to my beautiful wife. Oh my God, I love it. Okay. I always tell her that, the sun comes up and your face, I see your eyes light up and you smile in the morning. And it's just like the same thing. It's like the sun rising and Tracy waking up. It's a beautiful thing. I enjoy time with my family and stuff and things. This morning we had a family text line, and my daughter was up early and talking about how the weather was and things, and had a chat and everything with them. So communicating with the family, and I love to piss off Eagle fans. So let's do our daily dose of that, so I can feel good.
Jalen Hurts and A.J. Brown don't see eye to eye enough like they used to, and it shows up in games at the worst possible times with a situation where the coach is like, what do you think, Jalen? I like this play. And the offensive coordinator's like, okay. You go for it. 4 verts, Niners sniff it out. It's on you, Jalen Hurts. Right? Or is it on the head coach for saying, what do you want to do, Jay? And he gives a play, and it's just like, yeah. If you don't like,
I kind of put this on the coach and the OC.
Unless you got, but
can't let the crazies run the asylum.
It's not just that though, Jay. It's if it works, it's like genius,
right?
Didn't remember we were like, I even said here, and I think we all agreed. John Harbaugh, once upon a time, goes to Lamar Jackson. What do you want to do? Go for it. All right, let's go for it. They go for it. And it's just like, hey, man, you're a guy, you're a coach, just asking your players, what do you want to do? And it works, and you're a player's coach. Or it doesn't work, and at least you're a player's coach. But Sirianni does it, and they lose the season on that one play. Now it's like, what a mess.
I love a mess with the Eagles.
Yeah, and tip and iceberg, though, it's like...
Right, but the Eagles love that iceberg, man, and they win Super Bowls with it, too.
Yeah.
Are the Eagles falling
maybe
apart?
One in spite of
Jalen Hurts?
all the stuff that was going on.
How can you sit here and say, I'm not saying you are, but how can anyone sit here and say you're winning in spite of Jalen Hurts when he was the clear MVP of that Super Bowl? And 100% in this day and age, for any player on a losing team to be considered the MVP of the Super Bowl by a large group of people, meaning America, watching the game.
Well, he's without a doubt
happen. But
without a doubt the best players in both.
He was that special in the Super Bowl twice.
Was he?
And then the regular season happens the next year.
And
then you look at all the different offensive coordinators this guy has had since college, and you're like, it's amazing
he's a coordinator killer.
Superior offensive line in those years.
Right. And then when he doesn't, or have a superior play caller, it doesn't work.
Yep.
And you as a Cowboy fan, you're like, stir it up, man. Keep stirring it up. Unless they love stirring it up. Doesn't matter.
I got to be honest, when you say that, like, I am so happy this offseason that
I am.
Take away yesterday's press conference. Cowboys have pretty much stayed out of the headlines this whole offseason, and I love it.
Other than George
then you read in
Pickens.
this article, like Big Dom and Brandon Graham went to Hurts saying, you got to be more accessible to your teammates. You got to have more personality. Like, get to be one of the guys more.
Yeah, yeah.
And then it's just like, what's up with that?
I'm wondering if Hurts plays anywhere else. Is he considered? Nope. Well, I guess the debate of where he ranks TJ, top 5, top 10. Is he a top half of the league quarterback on any other team, or is it just Philadelphia with this line, Saquon, push?
It's the right system for him.
Is so good when he's healthy enough to run, and that's part of his game. He is so good sometimes throwing on the run. Some of his deep passes, they're so good.
Sounds like RG3.
And also,
he was just to finish my thought, he was impossible to stop in Super Bowls, guys.
Yeah.
Against the Chiefs.
I get it, but
at the top of their games.
Clearly, some of the best players on his team that won a Super Bowl have issues with the guy.
Did Do you like that? I like that. I love Eagles having issues and things. So we'll revisit this some more. I know Eagle fans. I know I piss you off. But that's okay. So the final question is here, and I'm going to go out on a limb, and I'm going to say, because the Cowboys have done so many things differently than they have in the past, that when I listened to Jerry Jones when he was talking about the franchise tag and the windows and things like that, I think Jerry Jones was actually talking about getting the deal done before the time is up. I could be wrong. I could be completely wrong. It wouldn't be the first time I've been wrong. But I think that's what Jerry Jones was actually saying in there. And I think that George Pickens, it makes more sense for George Pickens to get a long-term deal and for the Cowboys to clear up some capital. If they do decide to trade up and get David Baily, right, you still have other issues because you're not going to be able to fill those in. And you're going to need to pay somebody. And the easiest way to get more cash is to go ahead and get George Pickens done. Now, of course, they'll go ahead and do some of the other ones, get some long-term deals put in here and things that will also save. But the real easy one is George Pickens. And I'm telling you, $19 million savings is not far away. Let's go ahead and go to The Sky is Falling with ESPN before I get out of here, because I'm going to go do some work. I'm going to go lay some tile and some laminate flooring and try and make this house beautiful.
What are the Cowboys going to do with George Pickens this offseason?
I think they're going to wait because he's on the franchise tag, and that means he's not going to show up for the offseason program unless he signs it. So I think they're going to sit and wait and wait till he's ready to come back and play on the franchise tag, because while I believe they would discuss a long-term deal with George Pickens, I think their range of preferred salaries on such a deal would be lower than what he's looking for.
Okay, right now, if you look up the word conundrum in the dictionary, you would find a picture. You would find pictures, two pictures next to each other. One of Jerry Jones and one of George Pickens, because I see both sides of this.
Yes.
Neek, if I'm George Pickens, I don't want to play on the franchise tag, and I'm not signing for less than C.D. Lamb is getting or any of the other top receivers. At the same time, while I almost always advocate paying the player, in this particular case, with George Pickens' history and only one great season in the rearview mirror, if I'm the Cowboys, I think I'm very hesitant to give him that deal. So when you have that conundrum, Dominique, what do you do?
All that matters about George Pickens' history is
he had a great season last year.
Obviously, one of the best receivers in the league, an incredible impact for that offense. Like, that's the most important thing in football. We can pretend as if all those other things matter to teams a lot more than they do. The reason why they're not going to pay him is because they don't have to. And I think that's part of the issue is as wide receiver salaries continue to go up and take up more and more of the salary cap, it gets harder and harder to pay two wide receivers. So it suggests to me that maybe they don't want him there long term, which I could understand would be frustrating for a player like George Pickens, who finally gets with a top-tier quarterback and is incredible. It is clearly a number one receiver, so I'm sure he's going to get paid eventually, but it feels unlikely that he'll be with the Cowboys at any point soon.
Their best window to get a deal done was a year ago when they made the trade, and I've made lots of trades in my career contingent upon the player passing a physical and signing an extension. That's part of the rules. And I think the key number there was T. Higgins, who was at 28.75, the highest paid number two. Once you make the trade and he has a season like this, there's no way he would take anything less. In my opinion, now $40 million a year. Jackson Smith and Jenkins at 42. And once you do that, Greedy, you may solve a problem with George Pickens. You're going to create another one when C.D. Lamb says, well, wait a second, I need to be the highest paid receiver on this team.
And then let me spin it to the other side of this thing. So now you're Pickens, Neek, and you don't get a long-term deal done before whatever the date is, July 15th or whatever it is. And now you can't do a long-term deal. And if you're going to play, you're going to play on the tag. Are you showing up for training camp? Are you playing in preseason games? Are you just showing up the week of the start of the season? This thing turns into a headache, doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's unnecessary to show up for anything. If they're not going to give you what you want or what you feel that you've earned, then you don't have to do any favors for them. I think some teams and some players, the situation is different because you have the full expectation that you're actually going to get a long-term deal done. The problem in this situation is the Cowboys don't seem to be positioning themselves to make a long-term deal with George Pickens. So I'm not sure why he would do them any favors. And as long as he goes out and has a healthy season, it doesn't have to be as incredible. This year, people are looking for an X, and he's shown that he can be that.
As long as he goes out and has a healthy season and plays the way he did last year, he'll be fine, whether it's with the Cowboys or somebody else. But you have to ask yourself, like, what do you have to do to make sure and have a healthy season? I mean, we watched Terry McLaurin sit out on a contract situation last year. He gets hurt early in the season.
Right.
Not the first guy that's happened to.
That always happens.
Right. So, I mean, the way you set it up is he doesn't want to play on the franchise tag. He doesn't want to play for any less than CeeDee Lamb is making. If those things are both true, then he's going to retire because those are he's not going to get what CeeDee Lamb is making.
All right. Make it make sense, people. Please make it make sense to me. Let's go through here. Let's just look here. Now, this is because Jackson Smith has a year left on his original contract. So they have a year to work with, okay? So this is an extension that they put on his contract, okay? So we've got a deal that's worth $42.15 million, right? So you think of that, it's like you can't pay $42 million for that. Yeah, that's too much money. But here's the thing. Cap number this year, 10.3. Now, again, you can say that that's because, it's the first year of the deal and they still had year left, the last year on his original deal. Okay, let's just take that out of the way. Worst case scenario, the new money, his cap number for this year is 15.6. Hypothetically, if you ended up just saying, we'll just take that number, 15.6 versus 27.5, that's $12 million right there. Right there. $12 million. $12 million, you know what that gets you? That was 2 Rashawn Garys. All right, you can say, yeah, well, they kept it low to begin with. I hear you. In 28, okay, in 28, it's only $32 million. Understand, we're talking about 3 years from now. His number will only be $5 million more than what we're paying on the franchise tag. In 2029, it goes up to 36. And at that point, here's the great thing about it for him. At that point, at 2029, when he's at 36, they have a potential out on the contract where they can just say, we're going to take a $19 million hit. And they're done. They're done. So let me explain to you. Now, technically, because they've used void years in 2030 and 2031, that his contract would go up to $48 million and $50 million, but the guaranteed money's out. So here's what you've got for Jackson Smith Enigma. 10.3 this year, 15.6 next year, 32 in 28, and 36 in 29, and then you can walk away with only a $19 million cap hit. Are you going to tell me that is worse than franchise tagging George Pickens for 2 years? They keep telling me that they can't pay. Dude, if you're telling me my cap hit is $10 and $15 million the first 2 years, in the same way CD was 8.5, 14, and 19, where's the problem? Where's the problem? This is where you can't be stupid. All right, people, I'm going to go get to work.
You speak any English?